Welcome back to Toys on Tap. This week is another sick interview. It's our first from the continent of Africa. Alec Bass comes on from South Africa and talks all things toys and his career and where that's headed. And we are so excited to bring that to Toys on Tap. If you want more Toys on Tap, you can like, follow, rate, review wherever you get podcasts. You can follow us on all socials at Toys on Tap. And if you want a little bit more, you can join the Patreon, patreon.com/Toys on Tap. It's where you get extra goodies when they hit. We would love the support. It means everything. And thank you for over 5 years of support. Some of you guys have been supporting us since the beginning, and we cannot thank you enough. It means the world to us. Now let's get to this week's episode of Toys on Tap. I'm pumped because it was like that bag logo like entices, right? Like I saw it and I was like, that's already insane. And then how you use that bag to like manipulate the other pieces so that you can use them. It's so smart. But I'm pumped. Yeah. Thank you also for working with time. Like
No, and for you, dude, Cham, it's way earlier for you there than it is for me here.
Yeah. 7 a.m. here, but it's worth it. This is worth it. I don't know if you've ever heard of an episode of Toys on Tap, but we interview all the artists behind the toys, and you are my first artist that I've interviewed from South Africa, which is dope. And I'm interested. We're going to talk all things because I want to find out if you're the only one in South Africa that does this kind of stuff. But before we do that, we start every episode the same. Please introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, what you do.
Cool. My name's Ali Bates, from, as I said, South Africa. I make toys, paintings, all sorts of like different things. I think I consider myself like a maker more than an artist type of thing because I just love, whatever it is, just getting my hands involved and just making it. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, kind of just exploring, figuring it out.
Heck yeah. Dude, I love that. I love the idea that we just want to make. We just want to do whatever we can to make anything.
Yeah, exactly that. Like, I don't want to like put myself in that box and be like, oh, I was a painter or like a sculptor or whatever. It's like if I want to get my hands dirty with some wood and just, I'm gonna make it happen.
Heck yeah.
So yeah.
All right, you got to walk it back. I don't know how old you are. I don't know anything about you. So you got to walk it back to childhood. When we make toys or some kind of art that looks like toys, there's something about our childhood and growing up that kind of influences that. Tell me about the toys you're playing with, the things you grew up with, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so I think growing up, I had like a pretty normal childhood, I guess. I mean, like a lot of well, I don't even think I was really that into like toys necessarily. I was like a very outdoors kid, like a lot of skateboarding and BMX and like sort of just getting up to as much outside the house as possible,
Yeah.
but like art was always a part of it. Sort of growing up, I was always like into drawing and like cartoons and things like that. So I think that's where a lot of the like visual ideas and stuff came from a lot. Obviously, like had toys around, like your classic, like little Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just kind of grew up like pretty, yeah, just influenced by a lot of things, and yeah, very into art. And then, like, kind of it wasn't like a consistent thing. I think like when I hit my teen years and stuff, like it kind of, you start doing different things and like kind of lost it a little bit, and then I think where toys really came back into it for me was like around 2020, like sort of being stuck inside and like sort of,
Yeah.
like not much else to do, that then my mind started going, okay, cool, like what else is out there? Like what am I like drawn to? And then it ended up being like these toys and like these random things like that. So yeah.
Yeah. Dude, I mean, the 2020, like being stuck, everyone either pivoted towards toys or something that
Yeah.
like fueled them. Did you go to school for art? Is that where this like art kind of pours in?
No, so I actually I dropped out of school we call it, we have grades, yeah, so grade 10. I'm not sure what that would be over there. standard 9 or something.
Hmm.
Um, and then sort of did like a basic like graphic design, like sort of just got introduced to Photoshop and things like that. So sort of through that got like into doing like the more graphic side, but never really like took it in an arty direction. It was all very like practical and like that type of thing. And then yeah, like I said, probably around that 2020 time was like, yeah, when it was like suddenly my brother got me like a sketchbook
Yeah.
and I was like, cool, like now I got this and like just started doodling and like sort of getting back into that. And that's where like it's sort of like all spiraled now into where we are. Like,
Which is crazy because you have
mm,
such an eye for different. Like I see one of the pieces behind you,
yeah,
and what's interesting is it looks different than the other pieces you create, and it seems like you're
yeah.
just creating different things. And so, thank God your brother got you that notebook.
And no, then legitimately, like it honestly changed like so much over the past
Yeah,
few years. Like I don't know, like what would have happened without that. But yeah, so I think that's super cool. And like I think that is like it kind of carries into even now, like the whole like not wanting to be like too stuck with one identity, like as much as I really love the baghead and like using that in different scenarios. Like, I don't want to get stuck with just doing that, you know. So then it's like introducing the other characters, like the devil and like the other little things that sort of start to build this universe, you know. So
yeah. I mean, okay, so it looks like it starts in 2020 then. So
yeah,
2020, you find this awakening, I guess, with toys. You come back.
yeah,
What does that process look like? Are you just so in the US it was a mad dash where people just started collecting
mm,
random stuff. It didn't
yeah,
matter what we put up as like toy artists, it got bought and people just wanted everything
yeah.
for whatever reason. So what was it like? What kind of let you go?
So I think a lot of it probably also stemmed from like just being into like clothes and shoes at the time and shit like that. And I mean like similarly to how everyone was collecting toys, like sneakers and shit were going absolutely mad and like
Yeah.
so I was super into that and like then that sort of like started to get me onto like the collecting and like yo what I do it's like what else is part of this little world that is like being collected and then you sort of get exposed to like some of the designer toys and like you're like oh shit this is like a whole another universe, you know, like I didn't even consider. Obviously, I'd heard of like the cause and stuff, but like never really like paid that much attention and like didn't realize how many different artists and toys and like were actually out there, you know. So slowly through that started to like kind of open my eyes and be like, damn, maybe this is and I'd like played around a little bit with like 3D softwares and stuff and like but never even considered that it could be something made physical, you know? So it was like that still only came a little bit later. I want to say like around 2 years later, I'd like sort of got into 3D printing. But yeah, around the 2020 time, I started to like be exposed to like, okay, cool, there's this whole other world and like toys aren't just toys, you know, they're like
Yeah.
this like, yeah.
That awakening to figure out that toys, because it's such a broad term, and like growing up you think it's this like action figures and all that stuff, but
100%.
toy is such a giant term now.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's also kind of what's been a little bit difficult here in South Africa is that it's like we are still like not that exposed to like a lot of the stuff in the world, like culturally, like especially like a lot of the like pop culture stuff. So when you say like toys here, everyone immediately goes back to like, oh, it's a toy,
Yeah.
like, you know, it's for kids and shit. So like that's been something kind of like interesting to navigate. And I did Comic-Con last year and like obviously advertised as like back alley toys and like I make toys and like half the
Yeah.
people, more than half the people that would like come to the booth be like, what is it like, you know, what is it like, you know? So that's been interesting and like sort of just trying to navigate that and like figure out what's a good way to position it and like you know because I don't want to come now I don't want to be like yeah it's a art sculpture it is it's a toy it falls into that like category but it's like yeah trying to get that like point across has been interesting.
Wait, did you say you went to Comic-Con?
Yeah, so we do a Comic-Con Africa, yeah, it's
That's
super
rad.
cool. Yeah, gotten quite big over the past few years so it's super cool.
Is it
Like,
in South Africa?
yeah. So we
Okay,
actually have one up in Joburg where I am, Johannesburg, and then there's another one in Cape Town.
cool.
So we do two throughout the year, and it's yeah, every year it's grown in popularity. We have like a really cool artist alley and stuff. So yeah,
That's rad. So there's so many makers there. That's
so
see, I
many.
need to get in contact with everyone.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
2020 hits, you do this, you start. What kind of leads you to start making these sculptures or making these toys? There's because like there's a difference between like we start getting back in because you talked about clothes and shoes, which has such a
Mhm.
fun crossover.
Yeah,
Like that streetwear and stuff always crossed over with Cause when he was beginning and stuff. So,
100%.
what led you to start sculpting these pieces?
So around 2020 as well, like me and my brother decided like we're obviously just sitting around with not much to do, so thought like yeah, let's start screen printing. We'll start like a little screen printing business. And just through that, it sort of like morphed into doing like art prints and like a lot of like digital stuff.
Hmm.
And my brother's a graffiti artist, so like through that, we're like, okay, cool. Well, we have this connection to like a lot of these graffiti dudes that we can start doing art like these prints for and stuff. So that started to influence me in a lot of ways. And then,
We're going to take a pause right here. If you're looking to come hang out or see Toys on Tap in person, let me tell you what 2026 has already started to look like and where we're headed. We did Indie Toy LA in February. It was an amazing show up in Alhambra. Absolutely loved being there. Got to booth next to some really cool people, bringing the Kaiju Claw out, all kinds of cool things. In April, we are headed to Collected Con, where we are doing interviews on the spot. Mark Nagata is doing a booth takeover on Saturday, and we are boothing with a good friend, Gong Kong Toys, and we absolutely cannot wait to see everyone there. Then this summer in June, we're headed to Pasadena for the Pasadena Designer Con. Yes, we have a booth there. Yes, we will be selling. Yes, you can come say hi, hang out with us, all kinds of cool things. Then in November, we are headed to Designer Con in Las Vegas. We love this show. It was an amazing show being at last year, and we can't wait to be back to do all kinds of crazy, cool things with exclusives and drops. Right now, we're deciding if we want to go to a show that's in September, Godzilla Fest in SF. We would like your opinion. If you want to see us there, we'd love to go there. We're trying to figure out what that looks like for our schedule, but I think that's where we're going to be headed. So if you want to come see us, those are the shows, those are the events. Come say hi.
a little bit later that year, I want to say early 2021, uh, we partnered up with a writer here called Rusty, who owns a graffiti shop and a tattoo parlor. And he was like, yo,
Cool.
let's do like this collaboration sort of like gallery vibe where we're like, we'll handle the production and you'll provide the space and we'll start throwing these little like shows and stuff.
Heck yeah.
Um, so that like sort of was like in the beginning very like obviously the 2D stuff and whatever, but then sort of through that and coming up with ideas, we're like, ah, cool, how cool would it be to have like a mystery box type vibe where we do like a little toy with each of the artists that then becomes part of the like the drop and stuff. So that sort of then also sent me down the path of like, okay, cool, how can we start getting stuff made? And like honestly, I had no idea about like 3D printing or anything. Like so it's sort of through that it started to like learn a little bit about it. And like I think I watched a documentary on Vice that was like about these dudes printing guns. And I was like, if, if these cats like are doing it can't be that hard, you know? So like
Yeah.
researched into it a little bit and I was like, oh shit, this is actually something I could probably afford. And literally just went in, like bought the 3D printer. I hadn't even designed a toy at that point. It was like kind of just going on. If I get it, somebody will come up with something we can make like
Yeah.
eventually. And then sort of once it arrived, I was like, okay, cool. Now the pressure's on. Like I kind of got to figure out something to make. And then like, yeah, I think the bug bit me. Like, so
That's,
I
I
was
mean,
taking all those, yeah.
it's crazy to start by seeing Vice and the gun one. That's because I think I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just such a funny way to start. Like, oh, I guess this is what we can do. If you can make a gun, you can obviously make a toy.
yeah, I was like, it can't be that hard. Like, it was like all these like backwards dudes. Like, I was like, bro, if they're figuring it out, I have a bit of like technical prowess. I'm sure we can make it work, like,
Yeah, holy moly. And then you start sculpting, like,
yeah,
when does the bag come in? Because it looks like it's your logo now as well.
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
So,
when does that kind of creep in?
so originally I started like just obviously being like, okay, shit, what's the simplest thing I could make, like, so I started out with a little box character that was literally, he's an upside down cardboard box with
Mhm.
legs and a hole for eyes. And he's called the introvert. And like, I kind of, that was like sort of my first taste into like, okay, what are my own designs now? Like, and I've always been like, then it's sort of like, I think I'm quite introverted and naturally, so the character made sense to me, like to sort of push. So, and then I think that sort of like naturally progressed from like that to like, okay, cool. Well, now how can I make it more versatile? Like going on a similar idea of like this hidden character, but still having like a sort of unique vibe to it without just like a classic like balaclava or something. So that's then when sort of the progression of the cardboard box then sort of lent into the paper bag, and then from there the bird started out super simple, obviously, and like the face on the bag has changed over time, and then yeah, it's just developed from there a little bit.
Yeah. The two that I've seen are the Cause one, of
Mm.
course, and then the Bart Simpson one.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's like it's such a fun play because you get to use all the colors and do everything without ever showing the face.
exactly.
And it's like, especially with the Bart Simpson one, it's like branded with Quickie Mart on the bag, which such a genius thing. And then with Cause, the ears are sticking out of the bag. So
Yeah.
like you have a hint of, I guess, a hint of copyright infringement, but not all of it, which is
100%. Yeah, yeah,
fun.
yeah. No, definitely it's teetering on the edge of probably what's allowed, but I mean, it's like, yeah, it's fun. I mean, I think like also if you look at like just pop culture arts in general, a lot of it is just sort of derivative and like like dudes make paintings of different characters all the time and like sort of put their spin on it. So that's kind of my thinking is like, if you can make a painting of it, make a toy of it is not that. I'm not like mass
Right.
producing it, So it's like, and it's fun, yeah. It's just like, and then using the bag to sort of then remix the character in like a cheeky way, like you say, with Bart Simpson having it as like a quickie mart bag, like, and then it's like just fun little things like that that I think are interesting to try and bring to life.
Yeah, and it's super fun. Like
Yeah,
everything, because it's still so recognizable in
yeah,
all the colors and everything. Um, there's been videos that I've seen of you and stuff where it looks more underground, and so when you
yeah,
bring stuff like that, and then almost the next edition is like museum style art with the
yeah,
devil, and
yeah,
so
yeah.
like, and then you have the crouching one. So tell me, w- I have questions surrounding like you have a style, but what is the desire just to create anything? Because it moves from style to style.
Yeah, I think, yeah, like you said, it's just that sort of desire to create right now. I think I'm still like so new to it that like I sometimes give myself a hard time about like, oh, I got to stick to this and like, build up this exact image around that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's so much fun exploring and like sort of figuring it out and then like going back between the characters. Like you say, the devil is more arty and more like sculpturally driven, and the baghead is more like culturally driven in a way. It's like I can use that to express the things that I enjoy and like, and then maybe the devil is expression of more of the things that I feel and type of vibe. So I think the way that I'm looking at it now is like almost the bag character is sort of like the outward persona, and maybe the devil's the what's underneath type vibe, which is like becoming fun to sort of build that world around that. And not like in my mind separate them so much and be like maybe there is a little link there between them that we can like sort of build up and like make obvious, you know,
Yeah.
while still then just giving myself a bit of that freedom of like not, because I think I have maybe a bit of like creative ADHD where it's like I want to paint and then I want to do this and I want to do that. And like it's
Yeah.
the moment I try like stick to like one thing for too long, I just feel like that's sort of like burnout creeping. So I think a way that I'm finding it easier to keep the ball rolling now is, yeah, just jumping between the ideas and like still trying to keep them coherent and like, you know.
Yeah. I think
Mm.
I'm very interested in the like you talked about doing drops and blind box styles and
Mm.
stuff. Did you do that with the first two bag
Yeah,
guys?
so I dropped the like first year I actually got one of those, yeah, this little guy. We
Yeah.
did like I did a drop of like 13 of these, and then there was
Hand
another drop
painted, hand
hand
printed, like
painted. Yeah,
yo,
everything.
so much
Um,
work.
so much work, dude.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I did two different versions of those. Then I did a collab with a graffiti artist here, Chow Mein. We did like his noodle box vibe
Oh heck
sort of
yeah.
thing. So I did also two versions of these. So like super small scale, nothing like crazy, but yeah, like little drops along that line. Like, so yeah, it's like,
That's I mean, you're doing my favorite thing in collaborating with artists.
yeah,
Toys on Tap, we sometimes find artists that we absolutely love or want to get to know more or want to produce their work, and we offer to produce their stuff because we just love what it looks like. And so you going to graffiti artists and say like, hey, let's collab, I'll take on all this stuff and then we'll
yeah.
drop the toy. Because can you hold up that box, the first one? The thing is so well painted and there's so much going on. And dude, how long did that take you?
It was like a good like month or so, like of just like solid production, obviously in between work and stuff, and figuring it out, and
Yeah.
you know,
God,
but
painting was always the one part I hated so much.
it gets so tedious sometimes when you're on like the 10th one, and you're just like, oh my god.
We used to do I don't know if you've heard of the company DKE, but they do they're like the ringleader here in the US where it's like if you make bootleg toys, they'll sell them and stuff and you can
Okay,
make them
so
with them. And I had made a toy with him and he was like, "Yeah, we'd love to have a certain amount." And I think I did like 20. But the toys were so like crazy painting
yeah.
and dude, it was like I finished the third one and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to quit toys. Yeah, it's
Yeah, and
crazy.
after sanding and oh my god, dude, it gets like, yeah, it gets really hectic. I mean, at the end result though is so circular. You like you see them all together and you're like, damn, like this is what it was all about. Like, you know,
Yeah.
which yeah,
So,
definitely.
I mean, you dropped those ones. Now I have to ask, are you planning to drop any of the bad guys?
Yeah, so I think like I would definitely love to. I mean, obviously, like in South Africa, it's kind of a bit hard to like get people hooked and like sort of get enough people on board that it's like you can guarantee putting in the work back end is going to sort of pay off, you know, like especially, I mean, like the boxes and stuff were still quite small scale, and like now the bag heads and stuff more like, you know, 25 centimeter ish sort of 10-inch, 11-inch sort of scale.
Yeah.
So obviously then the price goes up with that, and then it's like, you know, trying to find the sort of crowd that's like into it and like willing to collect it. So I think that's kind of what I've been trying to do over the past few years, sort of like push that.
We're going to take a pause right here. As of right now, we have closed out the Queso Jones Kickstarter. We have shipped out all the things, and we are so excited that they will be arriving in hand to the collectors and people that want them on their shelves. We have a couple more projects coming up. We have one with Hemo Adventures, which we're really excited for. 2 pieces possibly a third one, all in that same Kickstarter. We have one coming with depressed monsters. Really excited about that one. It finally adds a cute factor to Toys on Tap because that's what we've been missing the whole time. And we're still working towards finding an exact date to release the Snailians. We've been working on that project. We have the comic book that will be there and the soft vinyl toys of the four brothers from Snailians. And so we can't wait to bring those to you. And if you don't know where to find us, everything is on Instagram and you'll be updated there, and the newsletter, and anywhere else that you want to get updated, we will be there. Let's get back to the show.
Yeah, get people keen and like, selling one or two there, a couple there, and like just building up some interest to be like, cool, come up with a solid one and then, yeah, work on that to do another little drop with and whatever.
Yeah, I think that's you're describing something that I mean, we've interviewed people all over the world. So what you're describing, like they have it in Australia as well, where they're trying to build community there. And there's parts of like Asia that we interview people, and there's like one or two makers that I know of. There's in Finland, there's only one guy that I know that makes toys, which is
Yeah,
crazy. And it's hard, like building a community, because then you have to not only do art like you want to and do the things that you want, but then also explain what it is every time.
100%.
I hate that.
No, it's like, it's crazy. Like sometimes I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh, dude, like, I should just like try to pack up and like move to the States or the UK or somewhere, like just where there is a bit of a like scene built already and it can kind of just
Yeah.
slide in. But I mean, at the same time, it's super fun. I mean, like you get to sort of like see people's first reactions to the stuff, which I think is kind of cool. Like, and that whole like people not understanding and then sort of you tell them a little bit about it and like seeing how like they open up to the idea and like they're like, oh damn, this is actually so rad. Like,
Yeah.
that's also like it has its own merit. So it's like I think it's a lot of fun. It's obviously challenging. And like you said, I mean, like in South Africa right now, there's one other maker that I know is sort of consistently putting out, and there's a couple other dudes like popping out here and there, like with their little, like designs and like sort of trying to push it. So there is definitely a culture starting to build around it, which is super cool to see. But yeah, I mean, we still have so long to go before it's like
Yeah.
a recognizable like collectible. I mean, dudes here like will spend countless money on like shoes and resale and shit like that on whatever. But it's like to start convincing people like, hey, these are also like worth adding to the collection and whatever. Like
Yeah.
it's yeah,
It is crazy because like shipping has got to be a nightmare too. Because
yeah.
we like just shipping. Yeah, we ship all over the world when people buy stuff, and it's a
Mm.
nightmare for like 5 regions of the world,
Right.
and Africa's one of them.
No, it's
Like,
it's hectic, yeah, because we don't have we don't have like a national postal service. Like, well, we do have one, but it's dog shit. You don't use it. It's like you know, so everything is private courier. It's not like your UPS or whatever. Like everything has to be, uh, yeah. So the premiums and the prices on all of that is insane. I mean, like, it's like $100+ to ship something from here, like a shoe size box from here to the States. Which I mean, you're selling a toy for $150. Suddenly, the price is doubled just on shipping, and it's like it makes it then unappealing for like a lot of people.
yeah, which is yeah, that's dude, that sucks.
Yeah, I
um,
know it's a lot.
Tell me about the pivot towards the devil. So you sculpted and you released stuff with the graffiti artists. You sculpted the two guys, the bags on their heads. And then the devil that you sculpt doesn't look anything like any of the art you've already created. So tell me how we kind of came up with that and like this new rendition of what a devil could be.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that was like it's been quite a funny one. It was one of those like I had this woke up like the one morning and I had this like doodle idea in my head and I was like, yeah, I got this shape in mind. I just need to like put it down. And then like for a few months it kept on being like, hey, model it, and just never got around to doing it. But it was like constantly like if I was sitting down for more than 5 minutes and sketching, that would be this shape, this like sort of thing that I would draw. And like so eventually got around to like doing it. And I think I've been almost like, I think consciously wanting to come up with a more simplistic, like sort of like one color deal, like
Mhm.
that's smooth, it's easy to paint, it's easy to look at. There's not like, and also I think I'm also interested in like the sort of art and the crossover between art toy and art world, and like where does that sort of link? So like also trying to come up with something that's maybe more sculptural and like conceptual than like an actual figure. So I think that's where that sort of idea started to come from. And then like being like, okay, cool, maybe he is like a good platform then to do like more, yeah, like I say, like the conceptual, emotional sort of, it's showing a lot more through like the posing and the whatever versus having an actual expression and whatever.
Yeah, I mean, what's hard is looking at it. It shows so much emotion without any
Yeah.
like. There's no face, nothing, and it just shows so much. And it looks like a jade statue, the one behind you,
Mhm.
which is crazy.
Yeah, the flowers and the
Yeah, which is so rad, and just the proportions, everything about it speaks to like this emotional being without having
yeah.
any emotional anything.
No, I'm stoked that comes across because that was definitely the idea with it, and like just trying to, I think also just push myself a little bit more, being like, okay, like it's easy to like sort of design a toy around like a brand or something like that, and then to get people to respond to it, you do a Nike toy and dudes like are hyped because it says Nike on it, versus like this is completely bare, like there's nothing really
Yeah.
cool about it. So if you like it, there has to be like a more underlying, more like I don't know, like say emotional reason behind it, I guess.
Geez, at this point, just put Nike on the bottom. Just see what
Yeah,
happens.
literally. Yeah, sure.
Um, because you're now playing with like different shapes with it, right? So that you have this one. There's one where you're sitting down, like holding his legs.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, are we? Does that mean you've kind of found that you like sculpting this one a little bit more? You want to stick with this one a little bit more, at least for now?
Uh, yeah, it's kind of tough to say because I mean, like, I've already sort of done like another bag hit in the meantime, like, sort of thing. But yeah, I think I'm trying to sort of build like a body of work in a way, like, where it's a sort of coherent, like, and get like a bunch of sculptures based around the devil together and just kind of see how it works and like what comes of that. So yeah, and like also that, like, just pushing myself to model a little bit differently, figure out things a little bit differently is also like a lot of fun and it's been really interesting. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think it's something I'm definitely like committed to it now, like in terms of like pushing it. But yeah, I don't see like it's taking over completely to the point like it's all I do, at least for not now, like while I'm still figuring it out and building that little world behind it. It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
One of the things I do have to ask, because you're bouncing between so many different art forms now,
Mm.
how did we settle on the bag as the logo? Like, how did we see that and think that's what's going to represent me? Because it's dope. Like it knows, like you know what it is the second you see it.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so I think that kind of came about because obviously, like saying, like a lot of the graffiti influence and like that sort of like at the base of it, I think still like that like underground culture and shit is still what I think is the coolest. So
Yeah,
it was kind of about finding like just a badass like image that was like, not like too out there, that was like say still recognizable, simple enough to sort of repeat and have different sizes and work with different colors and stuff. And I think like it's the main image sort of made its mark like towards the middle of last year when I was getting ready for Comic Con. I was like, okay, like I need to sort of have something I can represent there that's like I can build a bit of like a brand image through. And so
yeah.
that's, I think, kind of like figured it out the one day and I was like, oh damn, okay, I think this is it. So and then it's just stuck ever since.
Do you wear a bag on your head at shows?
No, I actually don't. As a I've always said the artist can't become the art. You gotta keep the line.
Yeah. I mean, it's such a funny, like, when I think about if I ever want to do mascots or something, that's
Yeah,
such an easy, like, go put a bag on and
exactly.
just walk around.
Literally.
Man. So I mean, with all that and you're sculpting and you're still like, I guess relatively new in the toy scene then, like, what
Mm.
does it look like going forward? What are some of the things that we're hoping for? Some of the things that we're going to do?
Mm. I think, yeah, just to keep it moving, like I'd love to put together a few drops and like actual collections of toys, like we were talking about earlier, like, sort of nail down a base look bag head that we can sort of build on, like body wise. And I think I'm sort of getting there, the shape wise and how I envision him. So like that's cool. So definitely working on that. I would love to also, like, I think with the devil and whatever, sort of try push a little bit more of like an arty approach and maybe do like a show at some point, sort of exploring that kind of crossover between the art and the toy and what makes an art toy sort of vibe. Like, I think it will also help here in South Africa to kind of like illustrate that to people who have been like, here's the literal crossover between
Yeah.
what art is and what these are and like how they relate to each other. Um, yeah, so I think it's just, yeah, keeping it fresh and like trying to keep the ideas moving. And I think that's what's exciting to me at the moment. Like, I haven't really like nailed down too much of like like a what's my next year plan sort of thing. I'm like, if I'm making and if the ideas are coming, I'm just sort of going with it and seeing where it's taking me. And I think that's cool.
Heck yeah. Tell me more about this Comic-Con Africa. I'm interested. Is it the same company as the one in
I,
the
I'm
US?
I'm imagining it must be at least licensed to the same people. I mean, it's
Okay.
run by some South African people. I know the company, some really really great people. They've been super cool to us. Like I was
Because it,
saying, with like the little gallery that we started, we've actually been going. The first one was in 2021, and we've done every year. But
okay.
last year was the first year that I went as like a solo artist, had my own booth and everything, which was super cool.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's like it's really like it's coming into its own. I think like they're finding their feet. The artist alley is growing year on year. The cosplay, we actually have like a really huge like cosplay scene here, it's, like surprisingly.
Huh.
So that does super well every year, like with their competitions and all that stuff. So yeah, it's just interesting to see like everyone come together and like and a lot of the artist alley and stuff, I imagine it's probably the same in the States, like very heavily like anime influenced and sort of
Some. I mean, it depends
mm,
on the show for us. Like,
yeah.
have you ever heard of Designer Con?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so Designer Con, there's some anime stuff, but it is heavily everything else. Like,
100%.
yeah, but we do have things like WonderCon, that is anime central, anime
Mhm.
comic book. That's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm interested in this like Comic Con Africa because the with like tell me about Artist Alley. Like, is there so you are one of the few that you know that makes toys. It's like, how do
Yeah.
they fill Artist Alley then?
Yeah, so I mean, I think like it's mostly like it ends up being a lot of like 2D artists
Okay,
and things like that. So, but actually, I mean, it's getting more diverse each year. Like dudes are
cool.
coming out with a bunch of different stuff. A lot of like local comic book artists and sort of things like that. Um, yeah, so it's still like I think finding its feet in a lot of ways, but I think it's making a lot of people excited and dudes are pushing and coming out with cooler stuff each year. So that's interesting to see. Like, yeah, and
Heck yeah.
I think like last year, like I definitely would have been the only like toy maker there, like so which is yeah kind of funny to like see. But I mean, yeah, dudes are like
Yeah.
starting to get with it, and I think we'll start to see more of it, like little sculptures and people kind of like catching on to like, oh, we can give this different life to our artwork and stuff, which is cool.
And I mean, which is amazing. Like I know it might be hard being in a place where the scene doesn't really exist, but like you will get to start it there, which is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. I get to be on like the sort of the forefront of it and see it like, yeah, come up from its infancy, which is kind of cool. Like I
Yeah.
said, I mean, it's definitely it makes it challenging, and like sometimes you're like, "Oh, fuck, I just wish there was like a group of dudes like that were just willing to collect." But I mean, it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to be interesting to look back in like 10 years or whatever and go like, damn, because I mean, already since 2021 or whatever, it's changed completely. It's like there's more recognition. There's definitely more dudes that are like at least starting to play with the idea and like even if it's like a little 3D printed sculpture based on a painting or whatever, it's like at least the momentum starting to move that way, which I think is cool.
Yeah. Which that's crazy. Do
Mm.
you plan on moving? I know we talk a little bit about production and you
Mhm.
doing it all yourself. Do you plan on moving to full scale production to get toys out?
I would
Like
like to.
factory? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing. I think like once I've sort of built up a base and I can sort of bank on the the um the hype around it and people actually wanting it, I think that would be the next step forward of going like, okay, cool, let's outsource some of the production or at least or up my production capabilities a bit. But I mean, yeah, for now I think it's still such early days that it's like I'm enjoying like the in-house process and getting my hands dirty on each one and like yeah, but I'm interested to see how that sort of changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy moly, dude. I can't wait to see what's coming. Um, the last part of the podcast is really you just get to plug whatever you've got going on, shows that you're going to be at this year, production drops that you got coming out, all those things. So please plug
Yeah.
away.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, this year, like I say, you sort of just taking it by ear. But I mean, yeah, I'll probably try be at Comic Con again this year, which is yeah, I think in August. So be able to find me there. We'll have one or two shows happening with our gallery, the Greyside Gallery in Braamfontein, which will be super cool. Got one actually coming up this weekend, which is going to be rad. And yeah, just a bunch of toys, just making whatever I can and putting it out and seeing where it goes. It's like, I think that's going to be the way this year.
Heck yeah. Dude, thanks for coming on Toys on Tap.
Bro, thank you so much for having me. It was an absolute pleasure.